Between April and September, expect to see tight, close quarter racing. The Porsche Esports Supercup.
And it's the start of this feature race in the Porsche Esports Supercup. What a launch from Jeremy Bootloop in second place then. Is going to be challenges Sebastian Job down into the Andretti hairpin for the first time. Onto the brakes, still not able to make it ahead of Job. But Bootloop, the Frenchman, has got Mitchell de Jong coming up with him, trying to make some moves and not making those positions just yet. We have got an instant further downfield, and well, fortunately for our championship leader, he's not one of those involved in that, but so easy that this could be the opportunity for some big points to be scored for Max Benecke in this championship. Job trying to go a little bit defensive there up the hill in towards the left-hander. Don't know why he felt the need to do that, but we're heading up towards the corkscrew for the first time in this feature race. Onto the brakes, left, and then right, and around goes Graham Carroll. Carroll's around at the corkscrew. Will everyone avoid him? It does look like they do. Oh, driver caught up with a slowdown penalty. It's championship leader Joshua Rogers. He's dropping back down to 22nd in this race. Absolute nightmare. Not what he wanted to happen. But look at the queue of cars in front of him going into the hairpin. That is incredible to see. But this is... well, it's going to be a really tough task now for Joshua to make his way forward. He's in 20th place as he goes across the line.
More traffic than the average rush hour on the M25 there, coming through the final corner and now in towards turn number one. Still multiple instances of side-by-side there. We're riding on board with your championship leaders who tries to file through on this absolute mess ahead of him, down the inside of Alejandro Sanchez there. So Sanchez hasn't had the best start to the race in this one, as Rogers squeaks his way through just on that inside line. A couple more points going the way of Rogers. He so desperately needs every single one that he can get, lest Benecke will be too close for comfort coming into that final round.
He was saying on social media that he was feeling good going into this round with Joshua Rogers, the Australian, but right now he's under the cosh. He's got the pressure on him, and this is where championships can be won or lost. Looking forward in your field though, Sebastian Job has got a 6/10 of a second lead. The Englishman ahead of the Frenchman Jeremy Bootloop, with the American Mitchell de Jong in third place. But Benecke right behind de Jong is putting the pressure on. Sebastian Job's feeling the need to try and break the draft here in these early portions of the race. Of course, half an hour race here for these drivers, so they're going to be going in to the sunset of the day here, and these drivers pushing on throughout this race as we look back at some of the action here. But Max Benecke, fourth place. He'll be wanted desperately, Connery, to get ahead of Mitchell de Jong, because de Jong is, of course, a championship rival.
Yeah, I mean, having a look at the points coming into this one, de Jong was only around about 35 or so points off of Benecke, so it isn't panic stations here for Benecke just yet. De Jong only finished one place ahead of him in the sprint race and currently stands only one place ahead of him in the feature race. It will be close, but I don't think if you're Maxime Benecke that you can go for anything aggressive at this stage. You're already gaining a boatload of points over Joshua Rogers. You can't put that at risk.
Looking at Kevin Ellis Jr. then, right behind Bobby Zelensky on track as they head into the corkscrew, and he's certainly putting the pressure on the Scotsman. He's having a bit of a difficult race this time out in the mid-pack for that Apex Racing Team driver, but Kevin will be pushing on. He's got compatriot and teammates behind, or close behind, in Jared Filsell, just behind Yao Vaz. So these drivers, they're pushing on and they're keeping the battle on here, as well as Filsell looking to try and make moves on Yao Vaz as into the Andretti hairpin. This, of course, is turn 2, as we've got an incident. And
Rogers again.
Josh Rogers once again, around he goes into the gravel trap, and well, there's going to be a lot of talk about this race, about how this championship has come alive. Yes, Holtzman late on the brakes, and it's front to rear contact into the hairpin there, Connery.
Yeah, there we go. Josh Rogers spun in the middle of traffic as well, so Rogers, just as he needed basically an okay race, it has all gone wrong for him like it did at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. There's the bit of contact there between himself and Holtzman. You have to say Holtzman 100% at fault for that one, and Rogers, he's going to be hurting, he's going to be wounded. He's still on the live pictures at least trying to make up positions. He has no other choice if he wants to give himself the best chance coming into that final round.
The thing is, Josh can't afford to do anything rash in this race right now. He just needs to score as many points as he can do and not get himself any penalties going into the final round. That's what he's got to do, but I tell you what, the pressure is really on him now for this championship, and if we stay as we are, this championship is going to be wide open into that final two races at Monza, and we know what drama Monza creates. I mean, this place is giving us enough right here, right now, so I'm thoroughly enjoying this. It's going to be an absolute firecracker towards the end of the championship, but we're keeping an eye on this front battle because Sebastian Job this time around isn't pulling away quite as much here, Connery, and Jeremy Bootloop is keeping in his wheel tracks.
Yeah, certainly keeping the British driver honest here is the Frenchman there for the race lead. But what drama we've already had here in the first 7 minutes of this race. You've had multiple incidents happen to your championship leader. That means in all likelihood it is going to be a straight-up showdown when it comes to that final round of the season. As long as Benek get a big send down the inside of De Jong. De Jong completely and utterly butchered turn number 10 there. Benek able to slot himself through, and he's up into a podium place.
I think he actually got a slow-down penalty at the corkscrew, did De Jong, and I think he was trying to keep out the way to try and serve that penalty. He's on the brakes. He was trying to serve it as much as possible while keeping them behind, but it hasn't worked out for him. So now Beneke up into the podium positions. He is looking good for a good haul of points. Looking at the replay with De Jong, and I believe it was at the corkscrew here, so it was through the left and then at the right. He just cuts a little bit too much on the right, I feel, and that's why he was very slow into that penultimate corner.
Yeah, absolutely. A critical error there on the part of the American, and now he's on the back of that, what is a podium position train there. So still not really out of contention in this one for Mitchell. Just a little bit of an error into turn 10 has put him back just a little bit, but it has handed points on a silver platter to the German of Maximilian Beneke. So he's going to be very, very happy indeed about that. I'm just going to have a look back to see a little bit of an update in terms of how Joshua Rogers is going. He's in a little bit of clear air for P24 at this stage, so that is absolutely horrible. He has 20 minutes to try and rack up as many positions as he can here to make this race just a little bit better for him. But you know, even with the abilities of Joshua Rogers, he locks up in towards the corkscrew. It's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tough, and you know, it's going to be interesting in terms of bringing the calculators out to see what the points gap is right at the end of this race.
Well, right now in the position that he's in, Joshua Rogers is going to be scoring 12 points in this particular feature race. For Max Beneke, he's going to be scoring 70 if they stay as they are in this particular race. That's not taking into account qualifying or the sprint race. So that's how it stands right now, just in this particular race there. So really interested to see how they move on now. Looking
with the sprint race results added to that, there's the possibility, I haven't quite worked it out yet, that Maximilian Beneke might lead this championship into the final round. Well,
you go away and do the maths whilst we're talking here, because looking further down the order, it's Jared Filsell putting the pressure, the Australian putting the pressure on the Scotsman of Kevin Ellis Jr. Both drivers racing under the Apex Racing Team banner into the corkscrew once again, but they're stuck behind Bobby Zelensky, another American in this one. Of course, we see him in the NASCAR Peak Anti-Freeze Series powered by iRacing, and well, these drivers, they're multifaceted here in this championship, and it's great to see such drivers coming in here and showing their diversity and their all-round nature of the driving. But it's a close battle here. 3 spots on the line here, 11th, 12th and 13th as they go across the line as quick as that. Half a second between them as they head on down into the Andretti hairpin once again. But I tell you what, these drivers, they are pushing on hard. Another couple of drivers who are pushing on hard is Nils Koch and Antoine Higelar, as well as Jack Sedgwick. So 3 drivers again in a bit of a queue, and again half a second between the 3 of those as well. So great little battle packs going on in this race here, Connery, and I hope my incoherent rambling right here is giving you some time to do some maths.
Still not quite done. Still not quite. It's hard to keep a focus on the race while also trying to fiddle around with the spreadsheet, as to say. So I'll get an update on that one in just a couple of moments' time. But yeah, 20 minutes now left in this race, and well, we can see this 3-car battle on the way up towards the corkscrew there. That's Antoine Higelar trying to defend from Koch and Sedgwick. So the Frenchman, the German, and the Brit. It sounds like a start to the joke, but it's the running order for those 3 right now.
I'm sure I've used that joke earlier on in the season, but anyway, as we head towards the end of the lap once again, and Koch, at the moment, the German, being patient, waiting for his opportunities, and this is what happens around this track, is that you have to line up your moves and you have to think about it. It's a real thinking person's track. Goes into the back of Higelar, goes Koch there. Higelar running wide at the hairpin, keeps it on the track, but Sedgwick goes down the inside as well. So 2 places lost for Antoine Higelar there. Koch, I think it was just the slightest of contact, but that's what happens when you're hard on the brakes there. The back end goes light, and just the smallest of contact right there unsettles the rear of the car, pushes him into the hairpin. Great car control to not completely spin it out there, Antoine, but it does lose him a couple of positions as we'll look on board for the second replay. And you see the moment where he gets that little tap and almost gets sent around, but great reactions from the Frenchman to be able to keep it in 9th place. But I'm sure that they'll be not too happy about that in the Apex Racing Team camp, and they'll be asking the stewards to look at that afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly one that's going to be a bit contentious. There's a red line driver having a little bit of a fracas there with the VRS Crown Sim Sports car. That's Gregor Hutu there. That was having a bit of a fight, I believe, with the Pasalis Jurges in towards that particular section. And now Hutu, you can see look on replay, a little bit of punt towards the inside of Jurges there. Another little shove in reply from Jurges off the corner. And now Hutu's going to lose a good couple of spots as a result.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of damage to boot as well for him. And you just look at this queue of cars again. Further down your field, this is Hutu down in 20th, but looking behind, you've got drivers looking to make moves. Joshua Rogers, by the way, a little bit of an update, 22nd position for him. Mike Cronkite is not exactly going to fight Josh, the Australian. So Cholak in front now is the next target. The Croatian ex-touring car driver Marin Cholak is going to be battling it out with Joshua Rogers. Connery.
Well, the points difference coming into the final round, if it finishes as it is, will be just a little bit over 10 points as the points difference. I haven't calculated the qualifying points into this one from this round, but if we just count race results, then it's going to be 10 points in between them. So now Rogers, well, it's going to be a little bit more now. He's been able to get past Marin Cholak there into the corkscrew. A little bit of the concertina effect coming through the middle of the corner, but Rogers making that 10-point difference look a little bit larger now.
It's almost like a Hollywood director has written a script for this, because I tell you what, this championship is close. Speaking of close, at the front of your field, Jeremy Bootloop is getting a lot closer to Sebastian Job for your race lead. So all of a sudden, the Englishman and the Frenchman are close together. Less than about a quarter of a second between the two of them. So these two have pulled away a little bit from Max Benecke these last few laps, and they're having their own little battle here as they come into the left-handed turn number 5. bottom of the hill, carry the speed through the corner, because you're going up a steep incline right now, so you need to carry as much speed as possible up the hill. They are powerful cars, but every little kilometre an hour will help you throughout this race. Jamie Fluke is still battling away as well with De Jong as they head into the corkscrew once again, and De Jong, the American, putting the pressure on the Northern Irishman of Jamie Fluke. So definitely some close battles up here at the front of your pack.
Yeah, I've just had a little bit of look at Rogers, because he just made an easy pass over Paschalis Georgis down in towards that turn 5. So Coanda, well, they say no team orders, but the drivers aren't exactly making it hard for Joshua Rogers to make their way through on him. So he's going to pick up a good couple of positions over those drivers of the same team here. It's almost the exact same situation as we had at Nürburgring, interestingly enough. So that's going to be a bit of a point of contention. I'm waiting for that tweet from your racing team to complain about that one, but on board with Mitchell de Jong. And, well, he's still with an outside shot at this championship. Of course, he was third in points coming into this one. He will lose a boatload of points over Sebastian Job and, of course, Maximilian Benecke as well. But if he's able to keep himself inside the top 5 here, he'll have that low percentage chance of taking things right at the end of this season. But still, the prize money for those top 5 cars, still a healthy amount in sim racing at least.
Absolutely gorgeous golden glow from the sky here, setting the sun here on this feature race. We've got 13 3/4 minutes remaining in this race, and these drivers are putting on a great show for us in this one. As we're past the halfway point, Sebastian Job then is your race leader ahead of Jeremy Bootloop. That's pulled out slightly to 0.6 of a second between those two. Max Benecke, third place, 1.3 seconds behind Jeremy Bootloop, the Frenchman, was the German, and then Jamie Fluke and Mitchell de Jong, that close battle in 5th and 6th place. 4th and 5th place, should I say. 6th place is Tommy Erstgaard down there. He's a little bit out on his own, really. 1.3 behind, but 4 seconds ahead of the battle for 7th. Niels Koch ahead of Jack Sedgwick, with Antoine Hijla not that far behind in 9th, and David Williams 10th. Jared Filsell and Kevin Ellis Jr. are on that battle, and Bobby Zelensky isn't that far behind those drivers either. So close battling just at the bottom of your top 10 here in this race, Connery. But everything's settled down a little bit now in this race, and drivers, they're just got in that swing of things now, and they'll be thinking about their next moves.
If you look to where Rogers is right now, he's currently got Patrick Holtzman, who other than Patrick Holtzman, ahead of him right now. And this one's going to be an interesting one, because one of the instances that Rogers was involved in was Patrick Holtzman running straight into the back of him. So I'm wondering how this is going to be negotiated between the two drivers with the 18 and P19. Rogers not close enough just yet in towards the corkscrew, but he has been setting fastest laps time and time again, even while he's further down the field just like this and in traffic, having to file his way through, as those lights on those Porsches, they've turned on in the last couple of minutes. So that's how the light level is getting low here at the WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Good run from Rogers though through turn 10. Can't set anything up for turn 11 though, but this is one of the big overtaking opportunities then, out of turn 11 and then down in towards technically turn 2. Thank you, American corner naming systems. But Rogers then, does he go for a move? It is a defensive line being taken by the German. Rogers, big wide line into the corner, can carry a lot more mid-corner speed, but Holtzman very well done in parking that car on the apex and denying Rogers the run.
Absolutely, as they head on through turn number 3 then towards 4. You're looking back from Holtzman, from the hanging on to the engine cover right there, as Rogers putting the pressure on, piling the pressure on, should I say, in the from Australia, of course. Joshua Rogers been the king of sim racing this year so far. Of course, won the GT World Championship as well in iRacing, the VRS GT World Championship Series, along with his teammates Ricardo Castroledo, one of those teammates in that effort there. So he's already a world champion this year, and he wants to make it well, possibly the biggest series that he'll race in all year, the Porsche Esports Supercup. down into the right-hander at the penultimate corner, goes in. But we'll look forward at the battle, because there's been a bit of action between Sedgwick and Niels Kirsch once again, and that was into the corkscrew. They were pretty close together, and they were pushing hard, almost swapping positions there, but those two, they're not giving up this battle further down in your top 10, because 7th through to 12th place all together in a line.
Yeah, absolutely. So very, very close run thing in the bottom end of your top 10 between all of these drivers. Just outside the top 10 as well is Jared Vilsell, also involved in this one for that Apex Racing team. So the Australian has a very good run over Williams there. Williams just butchered the middle of the corner there, and now Vilsell inside line for the king. He has to back out. Only half backs out though, still sticks a nose in there. He'll get the run up towards the corkscrew now. Nothing between them in terms of advantage going each way here in terms of the speed into the corner, but Williams will have the position into the corner to keep Jared Vilsell behind for now. But Vilsell, he's looking very, very racy indeed. A big look towards the inside for turn 9 there. I don't see moves often down into there when you're a car or so length back, but now Vilsell looks in towards the final corner. Not going to happen, but you know, like I said, it's the run out of the final corner and the dive in towards turn 2 is the big, big opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. As they head on across the line, they have lost a little bit of ground on the cars ahead of them, so they need to be careful not to battle too hard, does Williams and Vilsell, as they head into the Andretti hairpin once again. And these two still carrying on that battle. There's not going to be any change of position just in the immediate future of that battle, so we'll look at another one.
Rogers!
And Rogers! Oh, not again! What on earth is happening to him here today? This is not his day at all. We'll get a replay up on screen. And yes, Patrick Holtzman then, we'll look at it. It's down into turn 1 once again. And that's a bit more of a firm push out the way from Holtzman that time. And yeah, I think he can miss your braking once, but not twice there in towards turn number 1. But that's quite a brutal hit, shall we say?
Yeah, I think there's a, you know, I don't want to poke the fire, stoke the flames, but I think there's a little bit more in that for Holtzman. You don't just go that deep on the brakes and don't really change your line straight into the back of a car ahead. I'm just going to try and confirm things looking at my own onboard view. It's like he locked up because the car was completely unstable, didn't want to turn, although by the steering inputs he didn't really even attempt to turn for the corner. So we'll have to see how that one turns out, because the stewards will have all the telemetry in the world to try and work that one out. But oh my word, this race just keeps getting more and more dramatic.
And this is why having stewards' decisions after the race, as Alejandro Sanchez is on pit road with heavy damage to his car, this is part of the reason why stewards' decisions are made after the event, because they get all the telemetry from all the drivers, so they get to see what their inputs were, and that's crucial in being able to make those types of decisions here in this event and in this championship. So I like to give a benefit of a doubt. And I like to say that, you know, maybe it was just he missed his braking because he was so close to Josh. So I will leave it at that with that particular instant, but it doesn't look good.
Back. Yeah, he's too far back though. I can understand if he was like literally right on his back bumper coming into the braking zone and he wasn't able to see his braking marker, for example. You know, that would be an understandable situation for me. But when he's that far back and he's going that late on the brakes and not even attempting from the body language of his car to look for the inside line into the Mario Andretti hairpin, I think that's a little bit more. And I wouldn't be surprised if the stewards actually apply a severe penalty to him for that. And especially considering they've already had history in the opening couple of laps of this race.
Right, well, there's 6 minutes remaining in this race then, and we'll get back to the action, because there's still plenty of it. There's a race going on still here in this WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca round of the Porsche Esports Supercup. Of course, the penultimate round of the Porsche Esports Supercup, and still we've got close action for 7th place. Jack Sedgwick is still all over the engine of the number 33 of Niels Kirsch. The German and the Brit battling it out for 7th place. They've been able to gap out Antoine Higeland just a little bit in this battle, so they've been able to get away. Kosh runs wide through the kink. That's going to allow Cedric the opportunity to look at the inside, but then firmly closes the door, does Kosh. That was a real firm no thank you, sunshine, you're not getting through, as they go through the corkscrew once again. But this brings Higeland, Williams, Philsell, Kevin Ellis Jr. all back into this battle.
Yeah, absolutely. So things starting to heat up once again here for the final 5 minutes of this race, especially for those positions just inside of that top 10. Niels Kush still trying to hold on. There's a little bit side by side for the back though. That's Javil Sell trying to follow his way through on David Williams. He has the speed down the pit straight. He has the outside line, for the Andretti hairpin though. So David Williams can fight back here right on the inside of that corner. Clips both apexes perfectly, powers off. He's able to recover the position.
Absolutely. So Williams, he's great in traffic, he really is. I'm sure he would like a bit more practice at the front of the field in these World Championship events, but he's shown that he's been great in traffic throughout this season, and he's been pushing on. But that's just gapped those front three and those back three, separated them out a little bit. That little bit of action between Philsell and Williams, but still with time running out.
News. Patrick Holt's been disqualified from the race.
Wow.
Moved from the server. That's not an instant point limit. That is an admin disqualification.
Wow. Okay. So immediate action taken then by the admins. So
we have to put this in context, because usually we see penalties handing out post-race. We've never seen, at least in the Porsche Esports Supercup, maybe Will can chime in with the history of sim racing here on iRacing, but we've never seen, at least in an iRacing World Championship race, someone disqualified.
Oh, there's an instant further down, by the way, and it's Martin Kroenke. Oh, Marcus Jensen's got involved in this one as well, further down in your field. It's at the corkscrew. Big instant for Martin, and it's just not been his season as this, as we take a look at the replay then. So he goes and throws it down the inside, locks the back end up, clips one driver, and then gets helped over the bonnet there of another one. And Marcus Jensen, really the innocent party in all of that.
Yeah, this is that's a little bit more carnage there towards the bottom end of the field. And yeah, this race has been one of attrition, I think, is probably the nicest term I can say for this. And wow, there's so many things that are happening in this race, and we still got 3 minutes to go. There's no reason why something else can't happen here in this race to throw a spanner in the works in terms of the championship here today. So there will be some quite interesting discussions after the race about everything we've seen here today. I am certainly looking forward to that one, to see the teams and the drivers' replies to what has happened here today. There's Sebastian Job. He hasn't had any dramas in this race at all. He's pole position in the sprint race win, pole position in the feature race, and potential feature race win here. He's extended the gap over the Frenchman of Jeremy Boutloop up to 1.2 seconds, and this is very good for Joe, because he also is a championship contender as well. And with Rogers having a very bad race, he can keep himself close to Beneke and Mitchell to be able to make a fight of it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was an outside shot of the championship, and well, you never know. After an event like this is perfect for him. It's not a perfect weekend because he doesn't get the 10 points for getting the fastest qualifying time, but that didn't matter for him. Still, you're looking at a maximum of 150 points then for Job in this race. Beneke is flashing the lights, everybody. He is flashing the headlights at Jeremy Boutloop. He's trying to get in the head of Jeremy as they're heading through the kink. The time is running out, and they're only going to get one more lap here in this race. So Beneke trying to make as many positions as possible as they go through the left into the right here. And well, Beneke, he wants to get that second place. He wants to give himself the best opportunity of taking the lead of this championship heading into the final round. But it's been a drama-filled race here, and well, we're at the start of your final lap here, Connery.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the future ramifications of what Holtzman did, because of course he's been disqualified from this race, we'll have to wait to see if there's any further action coming into the final race of the season, or indeed the entire championship, because that was very, very egregious what is done here today. And you know, of course, Red Bull Racing Esports will have their chance to respond. Of course, Niels Nujok's currently the sim racing coordinator for that team, and a sim racer at heart himself as well. So I'll be very, very keeping a keen eye on my Twitter to see exactly what he's going to say about that one. But I have to say, the behavior from some of his drivers, even in this championship, look back to the first round of Rasmussen, it has been absolutely horrendous.
David Williams has been around. That's at turn number 2 down at the Andretti hairpin. We'll get a quick look at this one before we go to the end of this race. He was battling with Jared Filsell. There was just a little bit of contact from Filsell, and then Kevin Ellis Jr. finished him off there. Not a lot that Kevin could have done in that run, but Sebastian Job heading towards the end of the race now. He's just got a couple of corners remaining here, and he did it once at Silverstone. He did the double win at Silverstone just a couple of rounds ago, and through the final corner now will go Sebastian Job. The Englishman powers out the corner, and he's going to take the win here in the feature race of round number 9 of the Porsche Esports Supercup.